think we'll make a start. So thank you everyone for joining our employability session, specifically focusing on placement years. So my name's Melissa, I'm a creative projects officer here at Hope, and I'm joined with Chris, who works as a careers advisor at Hope. And then we have Maisha, who is one of our students who's completed a placement year. So they're going to be chatting to you a little bit more about the whole experience. Now, we're going to be taking questions at the end. So if you do have any, you should see on the bottom of your screen a wee Q&A box. If you just pop any in that pop into your head throughout the session, and we'll be sure to answer them at the end. But for now, I'm going to pass on to Chris, who is the expert, and we'll get started. So take it away, Chris.
Thank you. Okay, so let me just get my presentation running, share the screen. So my name's Chris. I'm a senior careers advisor at the university, and I'm just going to take you through our offer around placement years, and then Maisha is going to give you an insight. She's recently just completed the placement year, so she'll give you an insight of her experience. So it's an optional addition to your undergraduate degree. Basically, when you ask the question, what is it? So it's one academic year where you go in the workplace and you do work for that year. And it normally takes place between years 2 and 3 of your degree. So at Liverpool Hope, we have year 1 as level C, year 2 as level I, year 3 as level H. But if you had a placement year, you'd go on a level P in between I and H. So your third year becomes a year in work, and then what would have been your third year of your degree becomes year 4 of your journey, and then you come back and you finish the final year. In terms of the technicalities, so say you were doing a BA honours geography degree, with the actual title of your degree changed to geography with placement year at the end as well. That's how it'd look on your certificate. So questions around why do a placement year? So it can benefit you academically, professionally. You can put theory into practice, understand your studies in a practical environment. Professional knowledge can inspire your dissertation, so you can come back in the third year and that could inspire your topic on your dissertation, or you could actually link it to a job that's with that employer if that opportunity arises. Obviously, it's an exploration, so you don't actually need to know exactly what you want to do with your career. It could just be another way to explore other opportunities. And then obviously it boosts your CV, and I'll explain a little bit how it can do that and probability of getting a job. And some students who complete a placement year, they get a graduate job as well. So when you look at the application process for placement years, you've got to apply for it. You've got to go through a competitive process with other students, not just from this university. Most of the time, other students from other universities are competing with you as well. And so the process is very competitive. So what they do is, if you're good and if they've got a space, some organisations just take you on, and then you don't have to go through another application process because you've already been through one. So that could be another benefit. It's not always works out like that, but there's a chance it could work out like that. So another reasons why, it does say it can improve your final year scores by up to 3.8%. And that's from a bit of research done in 2015. Doesn't sound that good, doesn't sound amazing. 3.8% in these scores. But if that's the difference between a 2.2 and a 2.1, or a 2.1 and a first, then that's a big difference, and it can help you with your career. And then the employability aspect of it, it's saying here, it gives you access to 36% more of the graduate labour market. But that's basically because a lot of employers at graduate level want people with a year's experience under the belt. Now, we professionally have got an issue with that, really, because if you want graduates with experience, then you want your cake and eating it there. And then a lot of organizations don't always give the experience, but that seems to be the case, where a big chunk of the graduate labor market's keen to have people with some sort of level of experience, and the placement year to help tick that box. And it doesn't, a lot of the time, doesn't have to be in the same job. So if you did like a finance placement year, and then you were going into a business consultancy job, then it still had value to the business consultancy job having that experience, because there'd be a lot of transferable experiences that you've had that they'll value. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in the exact same topic as well. So in terms of the offer at Hope, we have a number of degree subjects which has got a placement year built in, and you can apply for them now. There's the list there, and you can just apply straight onto the 4-year course with a placement year, and you can apply for that right away, and that's going to be already automatically set up. You're going to know you're going to do a placement year, and that's part of your journey straight away. So they're the courses that offer that option with it already built in. But then, apart from those courses listed below, so the ones that are related to teaching with QTS, qualified teacher status, the ones related to social work and sports rehabilitation, other than them courses, every other subject I hope you can turn into a placement year. So say you were doing history, an undergraduate degree in history, that they haven't got an already created placement year option. But you could come to us in the second year, you can speak to the careers team, we can help you, and you can tell us, register with us, and I'll probably more details about that on the last page. And we can help you find a placement year during your second year. And if you find one during the second year, we can transfer you onto the placement year variant of a history degree. And you'll go from being on the 3-year option to the 4-year variant of history, which includes that placement year. And that could be a placement year in a formal one within a graduate recruitment company, within loads of different formal placement year options that you can go on, and we can support you with that. But also, what we're willing to do, and we haven't really done it yet specifically though, is if you find your own job, or we can help you find a job, and they're willing to turn it into a placement year, then we'll help you do that. So if you was going to, I don't know, let's stick to the history theme, and you wanted to work in a I don't know, as a teacher, but you weren't sure about education, didn't have much experience, then we could get you as a teaching assistant, or working in a school for a year, and then you get that experience working in school. It's not an official formal graduate job placement year, but we can turn it into one. And you can do that for a year, and then you can come back and you make the decision whether you want to be a teacher or not and apply for the PGCE. Or any other example you can think where you just want to get experience in the job. We can help you do that, and we can turn it into a placement year. So that's for any of the degree topics. So there's ones already listed, which I mentioned on the previous page. They're already there, and we've got infrastructure for that. And then apart from those 3 topics, you can turn any other degree into having a placement year option. You just need to engage with the careers team. Now, if you registered with us early in your second year, and with our support and looking for opportunities, you didn't find one, then you just remain on your 3-year variant of your degree, and nothing changes. You just carry on as originally planned. So yeah, you just got to let us know by November in your second year. That's just so that you get all the relevant information and you apply for opportunities early. You could let us know later on in the year if you wanted to. But you know, we say November because that's when the recruitment starts for placement years, believe it or not. So it's probably earlier than that, actually. October, you'll be able to apply in October in your second year. You need to be putting applications in for formal placement year opportunities, which should be starting in the following September. And that's how early a lot of the opportunities start recruiting for. So yeah, we just want to make sure that you register with us early so that you don't miss out on anything that you might have been interested in. So that's me done. That's the placement years. If you've got any specific questions about that, I'll answer it a bit later. I'm going to hand you over to Maisha now, and she's going to talk about her experience as a placement year student. Maisha, can you share your screen and talk us through it? And don't forget you're on mute. Oh no, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So, hi, I'm Maisha Sadia, and I am from Department of Computer Science. I've done my placement year. Actually, I'm still in my placement year. So basically, I've made a small slide just to explain how my journey was in my placement year. So the first thing first is getting a placement. Basically, when I started doing placement, it was the first batch of computer science doing the placement. So it was kind of challenging to find out which placements are available and how to get into a placement and which industry which are offering the placement. So it is very important to know what you want to do in the placement. In my case, it was like if I want my career to be a software engineer, or like doing web development or data analysis, etc. And then because what it does, like whatever you do in your placement here, you just get used to that pattern, and then it just helps you to choose what you want to be in the future. And even after your placement, when you are trying to get a graduate job, then they will look into what I have done in my previous placement. So if I've done software engineering and want to apply in a web development company, then they would definitely try to look if I have experience on web development rather than software engineering. Same goes for anything else. So choosing which role to do is quite important. And yeah, looking for placement, it was very challenging to find a placement um, because basically I'm an international student, so I have zero experience on finding even a normal job. So the employability hub was very, very helpful. They handed out me lots of websites to look into, and yeah, helping me out throughout my journey to get placement actually. And then yeah, that's that. And then preparations. So basically what happens in computer science, as it involves lots of technology, so there will be definitely a session of technical interview where you have to solve some problems, and then do some algorithms and stuff. So basically we need to be prepared for those kind of interviews. There are lots of websites out there where you could go and practice few of those tasks so that you are prepared for what's coming up in the interview. And then yeah, it might turn out really good. And then interviews, yeah, that's very challenging because in interviews, the first phase is that they really want to know how passionate are we in for technologies and whatever we are doing. And not even that, they want to know what extracurricular activities you have done. So basically we have to be really well prepared for those stuffs. So yeah, and then yeah, hoping for the best. So I'll start with how my interview journey was. So basically, I've done lots of interviews. I've applied for lots of companies. Most of the companies, because it was COVID on the top of that, and lots of companies were already canceling their placements. And the furthest I went was in Oracle. So basically, it's a multinational company, and it's like so I went there for an interview, and the one mistake I did was everything was fine, my technical interview and everything was fine, but I didn't do that much research on the company basically. So I would definitely suggest whoever is looking for a placement, or if they're asked to give a presentation regarding to that placement or regarding to that interview, make sure you do a proper research on the company, even the history, the smallest details. I had no idea I had to do all those stuffs, so I got my lesson from that interview. And yeah, and then I had two more video interviews which I've never heard back from them ever, and then I ended up going to this company. So I'll just give a little bit more details about the company later. So I'll just explain how my interview phase was. So basically my lecturer Neil, he basically helped me out to get this placement, as one of our senior already was one of our graduate actually was already in that company, and she actually helped out lots of students in our batch to get placement in that company. So basically first it was an interview phase where they told us to make a little presentation on what work we did previously in our first year, second year, and why do we want to do placement in there and what we know about that company. So that went well. So I passed the first interview phase, and then it was a technical interview where they work with specific technologies. So they gave me a few workshop and few tasks to do. So that went well as well. And then finally, I ended up getting the job. So my placement company is Askady. It is a company in Liverpool where they make products for schools to manage their data smartly. They basically help they basically make platforms for school leaders, teachers, parents, and students. So providing educational insights from all the available data sets on demand in a one holistic view. So basically they use artificial intelligence and smart technologies to make sure that all the data sets that the data managers or attendance managers in a school need can be in a really nice and easily accessible platform, or like in a window where they could use that data more wisely. They have launched another product called 6 into 7, which is used by most of the schools in the UK, where they use where they help to transit year 6 to year 7, because of COVID, as they don't have any exams or anything, so that the primary schools can set up few details of the students, like how about their behavior, or like how they have done in their previous studies, so that the secondaries could know how the student is, or like how they should work with those students. So that's 6 into 7. And then Ask Ed is like basically for recording their attendance and managing their data and everything else. So that's Ask Eddie. And then I'll start with my first phase of placement, because it was challenging because it was working from home, and I've never worked online in my life. And I'm kind of blessed that I was not in for third year to do my degree, because I really can't work from home. It is very challenging, and then to understand how the workflow is and how should I work through home, and then connect with the co-workers and how to communicate with them. So all those things, and learning few new stuffs, how to use Teams, how to use different technologies, and like how to present my work and how to code and everything through online platform. So it was kind of challenging because it was all new to me. And that was the first challenging phase for me. Then learning new technologies, because in my first year and second year, it was just basic web development, basic software engineering and stuff. So they don't, from, so basically from uni, we can learn the theory way of how to do it. So to present those in an industry, it's quite different. So learning how to do that and making an actual product is very, very different and a new experience. So that was a nice experience to learn new technologies, and then cooperating with the co-workers. How should I work with them? How should I cooperate, and like, get their view on how to solve a problem. So that was that. And then learning how to solve problems, how to communicate with each other so that we are clear about what we want and how should we lay out the product and how should we approach towards it. And then finally building out my first project in the placement, and then working in coordination. So the very first project that I did was an intervention. So I was working with the other fellow workers so that I could know how to create a web page later on my own. So I was working on interventions and then creating intervention for students. How should I link them to each other, and working with multiple datas. So all those stuffs. Yeah. I'll just move into my second phase of placement. It was as I passed the first phase, it was getting more and more easy, and I kind of got to know that it's kind of more productive to work from home rather than working in a workplace. Basically, well, it just worked for me because I was learning more how to work on my own, and then how to work in team as well. Getting more knowledge about how can I approach a problem in a multiple different ways, and I was basically working on my on front end for my first phases, and then I was kind of slowly moving into the back end. So I was working more with data and then managing them, and then finally developing a page on my own. So I kind of had that phase of me doing a page on my own in their product. So yeah, that I did that, and then evolving my way of coding. So from an amateur, it was getting getting there, and then learning how to code, and then gaining more experience how to approach a task. So that was my second phase. So basically, I was from a complete beginner. I was kind of getting more and more experienced, and in my third phase, I was already generating reports for groups containing schools. So basically, how it works is like different trusts has lots of school under them, and I was asked to make reports for those groups to know how the schools are working. So I used multiple deep data handling technologies to generate those tasks. I was now start to work how to make a page more robust and more faster. And I ended up being the lead developer for the user management for all of their products. So basically, starting from logging in and all the users who can have access to their product, it was done by me. And then ended up creating different algorithms to manage their add, edit, delete, and read the data. Now I'm at the stage of like, if someone asks me how I want this task, I don't have to repeat and ask how do you want it, because it's like already working in my brain how should be done, and then understanding the requirements and then deploying the code, which became really easy for me. And then now the final product that I've done in user management is currently in staging, so they're kind of testing my code, and then which should be ready to push live. And now I'm working for the second product, same in user management. And also I have asked from the company so that they could extend my contract for my third year so that I could work part-time for them. So that's that from me. Thank you.
That's brilliant. Thanks very much, Misha.
Thank you.
Yep. Is it over to Melissa now for any questions?
Yeah, if anyone does have any questions, pop them in. I saw a few people start to type and then stop, so we'll just give you a few minutes. But thank you so much, Maisha. That was so informative and really interesting as well. So I'll just give everyone a few minutes to pop in any questions they may have, and we'll see.
Misha, that's brilliant. That why we're waiting for questions. So are you working part-time now for that organization?
No, I'm still in my placement here. So after September, like when my uni will start back, so they're asking me come back and do part-time for them. So yeah.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. That's brilliant. That's
I
good
know.
outcome.
Thank you.
Got a first question from Annie. So Maisha, she's asked you, how did you manage your finances during your placement year?
Basically, I am an international student, so I'm not too sure how the finance is done for normal students. They have been paying me. Oh, I think I missed out. So for any placements, they do pay you wages. So basically, they paid me for my placement year, so I kind of managed it from that. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll jump in
That
there.
answers.
Yeah, I'll jump in there as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, so Liverpool, we'll only encourage people to go on a paid placement year. We don't want people going on unpaid placements unless they want to. The option is there. Some organisations do it, and if you're wealthy enough in order to self-fund yourself, then and you have that conversation with us, then okay. But we're not going to promote and encourage people to go on unpaid placements. And then in terms of student finance for the home students, yeah, you can get student finance. We need that's why we need to know that you want to change to 4-year variance so that we can let student finance know. And then there's a fee with for the placement year that student finance pays for. It just goes on top of your student loan funding. And then as part of that, you get a member of staff who's your sort of tutor and link while you're on the placement year. And the member of staff sort of teaches you, regularly has communication with you, comes out. Well, maybe not during COVID. They might just email you and have a video conversation. And there's like a program. I don't know whether, Maisha, you were on the program. Did you have to do the program, or the learning and the reflections?
Which program, sorry?
So for the placement year, did they give you a workbook that you needed to complete? Because I think
Yes. So basically, the placement that they did was very, very new to them as well. So I was not like, a placement student. I was literally like a graduate. I was treated like a graduate student there. So for me, for the first phase, they tried to make a small project for me so that I could, learn how to do the task and everything. But then it turned out to be a huge, massive project. So ultimately, from that, it was like I was like a trainee graduate or something, and then from that they just picked me up, and then I was treated exactly same as other co-workers. So basically they didn't had any like proper workbook or like how should this should be done. It was like I was just into the company, and then from that small project it just I kept on working, and then ultimately it turned out to be like a graduate. Whatever other staff were doing, I was doing the exact same thing. So yeah.
No, that's cool. I think for your cohort who's applying now, because we've only just been introducing the placement years as an option. By the time you guys will be on a placement year, there'll be also a workbook for the university to complete as well. And it just helps you reflect on what you've learned and
Oh yeah, I understand now. Yeah, so I was yeah, sorry. So basically, I was asked by my tutor to make some reflection reports. So basically, we have to make reports on the first, second, and third phase. But because I was not aware of it, so in my second phase, I had a call with my tutor and the people on my company. So they had to check out how am I doing, and it should be done like after every 3 months or something. So there is only 3 calls and 3 reports that we have to do. So basically, because of COVID and all this stress, my lecturer told me to make everything, all the reports together, and then just do a submission. It's just a normal reflection, whatever I did, what I learned, how it was, and all my experience. It's completely informal. We don't have to be that much specific about it, and there is no actual word count how we do in coursework and stuff. So it's just a formal report, what I did and how my experience was and what did I learn from it, and yeah, all those stuff. So yeah.
Getting a few more questions in the box, which is good. Got one from Amy saying, did you find it hard to juggle placement and normal student life? I'm worried about shifting from studying full-time to working. That's quite an interesting one.
So it was kind of challenging because I've just done my first 2 years and I'm not that experienced enough to be a worker straight away. And for me, doing a placement was because I'm from a tech industry. I definitely need a placement or like, some experience so that I could get a graduate job or like gain more experience on technologies and to sort out what I want to be from by studying tech or like from the career I've chosen. So it was challenging, but it kind of made me realize what I want to do. And once you start doing it, it's like learning as well. So basically what you do in uni is like you just keep on studying from theory and all this stuff, so you just apply those things in a practical world. And once you get started, it's difficult, but yeah, you just get to blend into it, and you get to learn so much more from practical from practical experience and everything. So yeah, I think it will be challenging, but once you get into it, you'll get used to it, and yeah, it'll be a nice experience and something different from uni life, having that deadline of assignments and everything. You just get to know how to do the task, and you can apply whatever you have learned, and you could know, oh, this is actually it's applied. So it's nice to know about it. So yeah,
Brilliant, thank
you just
you.
get blend into it.
I think that's the thing, like anything, getting used to it. But once you guys, we've got
Yeah.
another employability session this week, so anyone who does want to know a little bit more about finding the balance, maybe can definitely tune into that. We have another question maybe for Chris this time from Annie saying, how does Liverpool Hoop support you if you have a placement in another city in terms of accommodation? What support is available?
Yeah, okay. So to be honest, the we'll just help you find accommodation. We won't help you pay for it. You'll have to sort of pay for it yourself as you would being here. But we could help you find somewhere to live, and we'll make sure that you're safe and that you're not going to be homeless or whatever. So if you needed to come in touch with us to find places to live and you needed help doing that, then we can help you doing that. To pay for it, hopefully you'll be on a paid placement, so you'll be able to use the wages from the placement to pay for it if needed. A lot of providers, if you're going for like a formal placement through a lot of the websites that we've got, so we use a lot of different companies like Rate My Placement, for example. You can have a look at that now. The companies themselves, they'll have support as well to help you find places. They'll have people who were there last year, and they'll have they'll be able to say, well, this is what they did and this is where they stayed. So you'll be able to get advice from them as well.
Brilliant. And we've got one more question from Dean that says, does Hoop provide placement options for subjects health and wellbeing and psychology?
Yeah, so if you're going to do like the combined one, with psychology, actually, I think the issue we've got with psychology, that you'd have to have a conversation with the psychology team, because I think they want to make sure you're making the right decision, and they like the idea of psychology related placements. But the health and well-being side of it, yeah, definitely. But because if you're doing the combined, you'd have to think, well, what type of placement do I want to do that's adding value to me career choice? And then we'd help you identify that, and then we'd help you get back to the both departments and explain to them. And then through a conversation with both departments, we'll agree. And then we can go away, try and find one. If you find one, you can do it. If you don't, you can just stay on the current program that you're on.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys. It gives us a little break now because there's so many questions at once. Thank you guys for all your questions so far. I'll leave it just a few more minutes just in case there were any you wanted to quickly ask. Just while we're on it, Chris, what would be the best contact email for anyone to chat to if they've got any questions that pop in their head after the workshop?
It's just careers@hope.ac.uk. Yeah, just the careers email.
Okay, I think we've one more question from Annie. Are there any fairs or events that promote placements in second year, so we can find out more information and take away leaflets, etc.?
Yeah, there will be. We put on a number of different events throughout the year, and there will be like a placements one early in your second year. That's when we run it. It'd be probably around November, October time. We do a digital this year, so there weren't any leaflets that you could take because of COVID and stuff like that. But hopefully, we'll be able to get to a point where it'll be in person. For this year's second years, we're running a digital first strategy, so we're going to be doing it online, planning for it to be online, just in case there's any more issues around lockdowns and things. But then with the hope that if there isn't, employers will be able to pop in and see the students in person as well. But for this year, we're doing a digital first sort of strategy, and bringing the employers in if we're allowed, the ones who've got that flexibility. But then hopefully by the time you're in second year, hopefully we'll be doing the on campus in person stuff by then.
Yes, fingers crossed. I remember it was Freshers Fair, but I got to know a bit more about employability, the employability hub in general itself. So we'll see obviously if there's going to be one in person this year. We do have a students union week coming up, so obviously this week's employability and international events. The week after next is our SU event. So if you want to find out a little bit more about the employability hub, you can check them out because that's where they'll be organising the Freshers Fair and things. Haven't got any more questions pending. I'll just give it a minute or so just to see if anyone else has anything they want to ask. I don't see anything pending, and a few people have just messaged me privately to say they've had to pop out, and I've got a wee thank you there as well, which is lovely. So more than happy to wrap that up there, guys. Thank you both so much. That was so informative. Really appreciate you coming along, Maisha, talking about your experience, and also Chris. If anyone wants to join, our next employability session is on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Chris will be joining us again to talk to you more about the Employability Hub at Hope. I think you just raised your hand there, Chris. Did you want to speak? Or
Yeah, I was just saying, yeah.
yeah,
I'll be there on Wednesday.
perfect. I love that. And did you have anything you wanted to add, Maisha?
No, it's just I would say if you are really keen to have have a kickstart to your career right after you graduate, I would just say you can just go for a placement. It's a new experience. You could just take a break from studies. I would definitely need this break if it was pandemic and studying. I can't even imagine myself doing that. So it did work for me, but it's everyone's personal opinion. But if you ask me, I would definitely say you can give it a try. Can just take a break from studies, and then when you get back to uni, you can do a fresh start, and yeah, it might work really well for you. So yeah, that's that. Yeah.
Thanks, Misha. That's brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both so much, and take care, everyone. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Monday.
See you later, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.